There's a fourth image in the scriptures that is a little bit harder to see initially, but I think it's the image that is the most important, possibly the key to godly leadership all the way through. And, if we're a loving shepherd and we're a humble servant and a faithful steward, our focus is on those that we're leading and on their well-being and on serving them and on taking care of what needs to be done. And to do that, God gives us particular abilities and gifts. And so the image that is used in the scriptures is the image of the human body. Paul talks about the church being like a human body, and Christ is the head. And then the rest of us, we make up different parts of the body. We could be arms, legs, eyes, nose, maybe even toes, whatever it might be. But God has given us, He's placed us in the place where He wants us to be, and He's given us the abilities and the spiritual gifts to serve the rest of the body, and that's our purpose. Well, I had this idea in leadership that maybe there was the gift of leadership, and that was lost for me right away as soon as I became a leader, and I discovered I did have some gifts, but I didn't have enough. I didn't have them all, and I desperately needed people around me to help me in that leadership. And so the idea of shared leadership comes out of this body where God gives different gifts to people for the real reason, the real purpose is so that we will work together, that we need each other. And so a leader might have some of the gifts, but around that person, around he or she, there will be people who are more gifted in certain areas. And so the wise leader would encourage them or bring them in to share that leadership role with them. Delegation is very, very important. Every leader must be able to do it and do it well. We need to be able to delegate both authority and responsibility. We need to be able to do it where we don't sit over the person's shoulder and make sure that they do it just the way we want them to do it, that they have freedom to do it, and that delegation happens. But shared leadership just goes a little bit step further. What shared leadership says is, you're gifted in this area, and as a good steward of what God has entrusted us, it would be better for you to lead than for me in that particular area. So won't you lead me in that place? And so we see in the scriptures in the New Testament, we see that the disciples, Jesus doesn't leave one of them in charge of all the others or set a hierarchy of who reports to who. He sends them out to make disciples. And we see in the churches that that's exactly what happens. The leaders are there and they're all serving together in community. When the New Testament uses the word for what we call elders now, it's never in the singular except describing what an elder looks like. But when they talk about elders, it's always plural. And so in God's kingdom, leadership in God's kingdom really is a shared leadership where those who are gifted work together. Now, the positional leader, the person given the position, the title, cannot abdicate any of the responsibilities, but is an amazing steward when he can put somebody who is better gifted than him and allow them to lead the whole group as well as himself as we share our leadership with others. If we're loving, if we're humble, and if we're faithful in our leadership, the obvious choice is to be able to share our leadership with those who are better gifted than us and to work together in this harmony in the body of Christ.